GG Blankies proudly presents Musings with Steve and Teresa. They're here to enlighten, entertain, and inform about issues they think are important. They want people to think about how positive actions make positive people. Their show is captured and linked to YouTube. The programs are listed in the archives of both Blog Talk Radio and YouTube video, and you can watch it as well as listen. Now on with the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Our show is captured and linked to YouTube. The programs are listed in the archives of both Blog Talk Radio and YouTube as Musings with Steve and Teresa. Links can be found on our Facebook page, and you can watch as well as listen. And strangely enough, we refer to our efforts as Musings with Steve and Teresa. I'm Steve, a co-host.
I'm Teresa, the other co-host.
We're here to enlighten, entertain, and inform about issues we think are important. We want people to think about how positive actions make positive people. Terry, what have we got for the Blankies today?
Well, I brought some of my favorites, I guess, but they're all my favorites. Here's some footballs, but I guess since it's basketball season and baseball, I should find some of those. And I got it in a nice little pale blue with pinstripes on the back. And then we have crayons, which I just love this crayon pattern. It's probably can't see it too good on the video and can't see it at all on the radio. But it's like 4 or 5 crayons, and it's a little crisscross pattern, and it makes a really nice pattern. I've done it in red with black back. And so I use some of the backing. I put a coordinating, contrasting blankie on there so that some of it's for washability and durability, so that it doesn't get dirty so fast. And I think everybody should buy little blankies for the children. Blankies do promote a lot of good things. They'll help self-soothing in times of turbulent, toddlers all have turbulent times. They got a lot to do. They got to learn how to work that body. They got to speak English. They got to do mountains of things if you really think about it. And they get stressed. And one way to help them with their stress is you give them a blankie, you put them in the nice little quiet corner of their bed, and they can, like Shani just rubs the sand and rubs it on her face, and pretty soon we have no more angry child.
Works for me.
Yeah.
I call it a volume control.
Yep. And you can see all of them on the Facebook page, Gigi's Blankies. And we do have a website too where I need to go change blankies, but they're easily available, and if you live in our county, Scioto County, Ohio, I'll bring it to your house for free. So get them orders in.
Sounds like a winner. Well, Terry, Sunday in the April the 7th, Columbus Dispatch, they had an article from Youngstown where the Barnum and Bailey Circus was in town. A little promotion. They circus challenged the local cops eating donuts with elephants.
Elephants?
With elephants. So they had 4 elephants come over, and they put out a bunch of elephant food, white bread, rolls, bagels, and so forth. and the 2 cops, the 3 cops sat down, and one guy was a donut eating champion. And they had Krispy Kreme donuts, and so they started on, and about 3 dozen or 4 dozen donuts for the guys. Well, the elephants reached up on the table, knocked everything down on the floor, and then ate it. And then they started eating the donuts, and they took the donut right out of this one cop's hand. And they reached up and got. And the cop says, "Only the bravest of the brave can do this." So.
That's a nice little promo.
Yeah, well.
So the elephants will win hands down in a eating contest.
They did in that
or
one.
Trunks up.
Trunks up, yeah. Well, we found a thing in the newspaper here about a methane-powered dairy farm at Fair Oaks, Indiana.
This is a really neat idea.
They milk 30,000 cows 3 times a day.
30,000
cows. That's more people than we got in Scioto County.
Just about. That's a lot of cows. Well, we got more people than that now.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the local census. But
30,000 cows.
They take the
That's also a lot of cow excess.
refuge. Well, all right, I'm corrected. We got 84,000 in the count or in the marketing area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So that's.
But 30,000 cows is a lot of cows.
That's a lot of cows. Utter catastrophe. Anyway, they have about 5 million pounds of cow manure that they vacuum from the floor every day.
That's a lot of cows.
And they're using about 5% of that to convert to methane, and they power 10 barns of cheese, a cheese factory, a cafe, a gift shop.
So they're turning their cow waste, which have plenty of it. They're using it.
Well, they were using the methane to.
See, and I thought they were going to harvest cow poops.
Well, the next thing they're doing is they
because somebody said that those are responsible for global warming.
Yeah, all the cows.
All the cows. It's like,
well,
but this is really neat.
They are taking the stuff. They make it into a biodigestible function, and they're making gasoline or a substitute.
Yeah.
And the guy said they're running their trucks with cheap natural gas, close to half the price of a gallon of diesel fuel. Wow. And
that's still kind of high, but it's the way it is now. That's a tremendous savings for a big farm like that.
The farm is running a sophisticated $12 million digester facility that processes manure, capturing natural gas, runs electrical generators, or is pumped underground to the fueling station. He didn't say how much money they were saving, but
I can imagine it's considerable, or will be considerable.
The impetus was that when you get 30,000 cows in the same lot, the neighbors began to complain.
Yeah, I'd say.
we had 200 rabbits in our backyard during World War II, during meat rationing, and the neighbors complained.
Yeah. That's really
that was
creative.
a daily job to go out and scrape up the rabbit stuff and make it so that it didn't smell up the neighborhood.
Yeah, but that's a pretty good idea. He's using stuff that he has on hand.
This is a renewable, biodegradable
and he has plenty of
byproduct of civilization, and not a bad idea at all.
It's a fuel.
Well, got a story here. The guy says, why don't they use 911 in an emergency? This particular bunch of guys, because they can't find 11 on the dial.
Yeah, it's like the computer push any key. Which is any key?
Early this morning, a skeleton was found by the Palm Beach police. Come to find out, he was the 1932 hide and seek champion.
Never been found.
Run into one here that this was Terry's pick of the thing. Is Brad Paisley and LL Cool J teamed up to make a song. And the concept...
And they're diametrically opposed. Like, he's a country singer, and the other one is a rap singer.
The black rap star and a white country singer.
Yeah, both very prominent in their fields.
They were using the gimmick of one guy would sing his verse.
They were singing the ballads, right?
And the other guy would sing a verse, and then they would join together and work together in the interest of good harmony and so forth. And the blog writer here that's reviewing it objected to the language that the guys were using. And
well, it seems like modern language that the children use that are in lots of songs. I personally would like to hear the harmony. I mean, the music that goes with it. It might be a very nice song, but read just the lyrics, it's kind of confusing.
Well, as bad poetry. I shouldn't say bad poetry. As minor poetry, this leaves a little bit to be desired. With the melody behind it, it might
It'd
make.
probably be all right.
Of course, I have enough of a hearing impairment. I can't understand the words anymore, so it doesn't make any difference. Well, anyway, the blogger took exception to the words that they used, and the reality is that these two guys are in the music business. They've been working gigs together. That there is there's a good couple of generations that have gone in the music world with blacks and whites and jazz and so forth. So the differences that the blogger objecting to were not really recognized by the two individuals.
He doesn't have valid objections, actually.
Well, his objections are valid, but they're politically correct. You can't say this word anymore.
Yeah, we need to get rid of political correctness.
I take exception to a good part of that.
Yeah.
But in any event, way to
Well
go,
done,
way to go, guys!
Yeah, they're trying to make the world a better place in their way.
It wasn't a bad shot at all.
No, and who knows what'll come of that? You know, I mean, didn't we have We Are the World where they raised a bunch of money for something? I mean, every now and then the music world gets together and does something really, really good. So I got something here that it's about tattoos and suffering from tattoo regret, which I find interesting because more and more people are getting tattoos. I mean, one of the newest businesses around our county is tattoo parlors are springing up like flowers. And I mean, that's okay if you want a tattoo. That's your own personal decision. However, many people are seeking to get this tattoos removed. They said that in the last year, the number has gone up 43%, about 1/3 of people suffer from tattoo regret. Now, I personally don't have any tattoos, and neither does he, but I know lots and lots of people that have tattoos, and I just always wonder, you know, what are you going to think about that tattoo in 50 years? Like this one, it says here, it says, do you want a permanent reminder of what may have been a temporary feeling? You know, even like the movie stars. Here we have Johnny Depp when you used to be hooked up with Winona Ryder, and he had Winona Forever put on some part of his body. And after they broke up, now it's Wino Forever. He couldn't get it removed because they have to use a laser, and it's very costly. Now, I know there are some kind of creams out there that are supposed to remove the ink.
There was another treatment that they used where they abraded the skin.
Yeah, that didn't work either.
Well, it works, but it just...
But it makes a big scar.
Well, not necessarily. If they do it right, they take off a certain layer of the skin, and then they let you heal, and about 6 or 7 weeks, months later, they go do it again, and they keep sanding it like you would sand a coffee stain out of a piece of wood.
Well, I don't think it's a good
it leaves a little bit to be desired.
Yeah,
you know?
well, I came real close to getting a tattoo once, and it would have been a very angry tattoo. It would have been a unidigital hand position placed in a spot where I could flash it when I needed to. But at the time, it seemed like a good idea, but I chickened out, and now I am so very happy that I do not have that on me because it wouldn't fit in with my new lifestyle or any of my new things. So you must think carefully when getting a tattoo.
How often when you were young did you think about what you'd look like when you were in your dotage?
Well,
like the little girl who names her baby Bambi, and then Grandma gets to be 70 years old in the rocking chair at the nursing home, and then, you want your medicine, Bambi?
Well, some of the inks can also cause infections, which you have to be careful for. You got to choose if you're going to get a tattoo, choose your tattooist carefully. But I personally, like here, the man that wrote the article, he said that a few years ago he went to interview a handyman to do some work on his house, and he noticed a teardrop tattoo on the top of his left cheek. So he went and did some online research to see what that tattoo meant, and he was quite shocked when he found out that the teardrop tattoo can mean that he murdered someone. So his response to the whole situation was, he hired somebody else. So your tattoos can keep you from getting work. Now, this teardrop tattoo could have been something entirely different. It could have been to signify something else. But he was taking it at face value, if you want to excuse the pun, and chose not to hire this man that could have been the best worker he ever met. But the tattoo, I find it interesting. When I was young, there were only a certain group of people that got tattoos, like sailors and bohemians and military people.
Yeah.
Now it seems to have become a accepted form of self-expression. And I've seen some tattoos, and I want to ask, what were you thinking when you chose to put this on your body?
Well, this fits into the area that my objection when during the beatnik area and so forth was that this was their form of social protest. They were saying to me in your face, and they were couldn't understand my reaction was right back at you, and the tattoos fall in the same category as, in my opinion, of an individual that's got his arms and shoulders and body covered with tattoos. In the first place, I question his sanity. From my standpoint,
they tell me it doesn't hurt, but I don't know. That's a needle putting dye in your skin, you know.
It is discomfort, but regardless of the pain factor. That's one of the things that they're claiming is, you look how brave I am and so forth. But what it's saying to me is, look how stupid I am. I can't think straight and don't trust me. and I'm supposed to make something positive out of this. I'm positive of my reaction.
Well, I
think about it before you.
Right. Think about it long and hard. And think about, well, too, in some places you get a tattoo that over time, when your body changes and morphs, your tattoo is going to morph with it. So some cute little tiny creature or something, in 30 years could be this big and look like a monster. So I don't know. I don't see me getting a tattoo. If it does, it'll be something very personal, private. And,
your serial number, so they'll know who you are.
Yeah, but no, but I think it's interesting that more and more people are getting them removed. So I think long and hard.
Yeah.
Well,
going with my provincial outlook on tattoos, there, a guy says, "Hey, look at me." He pounding a flat stomach and a firm muscles. He says, I've just finished 100 sit-ups before you group of young people, and I'm fit as a fiddle, and you know why? I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't stay up late, I don't chase loose women. And he smiled at him, his teeth white, his eyes a glitter, and tomorrow I'm going to celebrate my 95th birthday. Oh, really? Said the kids. How?
Doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, what's he going to do?
He's probably going to do another bunch of sit-ups. Yes, I'm of that vintage myself. So
good word, vintage.
Well, we got a couple of stories here that dovetail together. This one guy says that critters evolve rapidly to cope with environmental change. And John Roach did the article, but the
little bugs.
University in Sweden was they were studying these little bugs that have a very short lifetime.
Soil mites.
Soil mites. I don't know whether you knew it, but
we use fruit flies.
They use fruit flies because they have a 6-week gestation period, so you can go through 10 generations of a fruit fly in a couple of months. I don't know the exact time period, but if you did that with human beings, you'd be talking 500 years. Okay. So they're trying to study controls and mutations and so forth. Well, here they find out that by selecting, and in other words, they were playing God.
Yeah, selective
They're going through the little things and sorting out the young ones and the little ones and the big ones and so forth, that they, in as little as 5 generations, got a repeatable DNA function, so to speak. They changed the species of the the bug.
The bug, yeah.
And,
Little soil mite.
Illustrating that
Evolution happens faster.
it can happen. Well, and in dogs we talked about earlier, I think there's 500 breeds of dog now, and that's already happened since. I think Henry VIII had some dogs, so that would be the 16th, 15th century, and they began to crossbreed and isolate the dogs, and now you got all kinds of
all kinds of dogs. 20,000 years dogs have been around.
Dogs have been accompanying mankind. They found them around the domestic dogs.
Yeah.
So that
as opposed to feral dogs, which are another animal.
Well, feral dogs are dogs that went wild again, categorically, and then there's the out into the areas there where the coyotes and the wolves and so forth are naturally.
But their changes happen fast. I mean, they just prove that. I mean, changes can happen, and this mostly changed. These little bugs changed because of their environment. You know, they were stuck in a lab, and they did this and that to survive. And I think in the broader sense, that's what's happening to us. Where our environment is changing. We're doing this, doing that. So we're going to change eventually.
What's neat, if you go down to the next level, we're using inoculations and vaccines to control the viruses and bacteria that in our bodies, and we're killing all the weak ones.
Right.
And I very seldom is there a total kill in a
vaccine or a treatment.
Well, in any kind of a disaster even. The little as 2 or 3% survive, and those characteristics are the ones then that get passed on down the line. So well, anyway, to back that up, the guys in Russia announced that DNA can be reprogrammed by words and frequencies, and they go on to explain. I think you got an outline thing.
Yeah.
How were they doing this?
Well, first I want to give a nod to where I found it. I found this actually on Facebook, and it was posted and shared by our good friend Magenta Pixie, who has been telling us this for a really long time, and now here's scientific evidence to back it up. They've discovered that the research can directly or indirectly explain phenomena such as clairvoyance, intuition, spontaneous and remote acts of healing, self-healing, affirmation techniques, all kinds of other stuff that we've all taken for granted. But anyway, they did a study on the DNA, and they found out that supposedly there's like 90% junk DNA. Well, as with our brain, why is it there if it's not being used? You know, they say we only use a tiny bit of our brain. They're saying we only use a tiny bit of our DNA. But these guys have discovered that it's also responsible for data storage and communication. They discovered the DNA has a language of its own, which is actually not its own, it's our own, and that our human language is similar to the language that they found in the DNA. Now, I'm not sure how they did all this, and this article is quite long and really in depth. And the link's on the Facebook, and but they found that they could, by once they decoded it, they found out by shooting different frequencies of lasers and lights, they could make things change in the DNA, like they changed. Where is it? The frog embryos to salamander embryos by transmitting the DNA information patterns. But see, one thing this does is that it affirms, solidifies, verifies that all the things that we've been taught by our esoteric and spiritual teachers about programming our brains and our bodies with language, words, and thought has now been scientifically proven. So thoughts do have matter. I mean, this is just an amazing article that they said that all the things, you know, like your daily affirmations, hypnosis, all that stuff, does have a basis in science, and it can affect the human body. The personal experiences I've had with just energy work, I know this to be true. We've entered a new era of enlightenment with coming of the end of the Mayan calendar. I mean, there's so much here that's all coming together for me anyway. That it's the golden age. All this stuff. I mean, this is proof.
This will allow. Now there'll be some old fogies in there that will say no. You invalidate all of my previous research, so
well, it
it
doesn't
can't be
invalidate it.
Well,
just
no, I mean not talking about the academic world.
Yeah,
okay?
oh yeah,
and the professional world is every time a new idea comes up, some expert gets nullified.
Yeah,
and,
well,
and
this
he
article
goes kicking and swinging.
Already a year old, so
yeah. The thing that we are getting here is in order for it to be scientific, it has to be able to be reproducible by another person. Mm-hmm. It has to be documented and controlled with all of the. You can't throw in a little bit of faith. It won't be scientific then.
Oh no!
So this has bridged the gap then initially of the between the scientist and quote faith healer, and
well, they said though that the frequency has to be correct, and not everybody. You can do it yourself by increasing your consciousness. Raising your consciousness, you know what they're always talking about, a higher
changing the frequency, yeah.
Changing the frequency, and that's one way that does it, and you can do it yourself.
Well, back years ago, I was reading the Seth material in late 60s, early 70s, and one of the questions in the question and answer period was, could you make a guy levitate? And Seth says, well, yes, it would take probably a lifetime of rigid training to an individual. Why would you do that?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, why would you want to levitate somebody?
That was what was it? Well, the training, in other words, the concept of you are, you create your own reality, and you control and participate in what happens. Is so complex that it's difficult to even talk about, and the fact that if you could levitate if you did all of the right things, but to what advantage?
Well, only if I can fly and control it.
Well, and at what cost? Everything has. What does it say? There's no free lunch.
Yeah. Well, I think this was just amazing, but it also proves that you need to be mindful that thoughts do have matter, thoughts have power, and thoughts do matter. You know, all them random thoughts that go ripping around in your brain, get control of them things. You know, think positive, be positive, do positive.
Yeah.
You know, so be mindful. You know, keep a hold of your thoughts. Yeah, we're getting down to the end of our time here again, and I just want to remind you, don't forget baby blankets. We got lots of baby showers coming up here in the next few months. Spring has always got lots of baby showers. And these make fabulous shower gifts.
A thing to throw in here right at the last minute here is Lyrid meteor showers peak on April the 22nd.
More things 23rd. Falling out of the sky, but this is one that happens every year.
Yeah, 10 to 20 meteors an hour, but sometimes they surge as high as 100 meteors an hour. They pretend to produce bright meteors with long, highly visible trails. All in all, it's worth getting out to see them if you can make the time. They generally originating from the northeastern portion of the sky in the constellation Lyra.
And I have yet to ever been able to see one of those because it's cloudy. I'm in the wrong hemisphere.
Yeah.
You know,
well, this year the moon will be setting rather late, so it'll be the best watch for them then. We tend to peak towards the early morning hours anyway, so it works out well for those of us in the U.S. and it'll be somewhere between 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning.
Middle of the night, go out and watch the meteor shower. Hopefully it'll be warm.
Well, we find that interesting and notable.
And also, one little blurb, Legoland has opened a big hotel, and it's fabulous, and I'm going to post the link anyway, but we're running out of time.
Well, we want to thank you.
It doesn't made out of Legos, it looks like Legos. I love Legos.
We want to thank you for listening to our podcast today. We'll return with our continuing viewpoints next Tuesday. And the mission on these blog talk presentations is to stimulate your thinking,
Prod your mind in the new channel,
pump up your interest in life,
and rebuild your enthusiasm.
whether you're pro or con. We insist you join us as we investigate,
Evaluate,
and participate. Be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
That's right.
Enjoy.
Smile. Enjoy spring. It's finally here.
Surprise your neighbor. Do something nice for him.
Yeah.
Gigi Blankies, thank you for listening to the podcast today. This program is archived at Blog Talk Radio, captured and archived for YouTube video, and linked to Facebook as Musings with Steve and Teresa. Think positive, be positive, live positive, and enjoy.